Let's see, how can I lead into this and make it, I don't know, special?
Montreal and Boston, double overtime. Montreal's PK Subban wins the game. Meanwhile, on Twitter, several racist tweets are posted. Unbelievably, in 2014, racism comes with a hashtag, and the N-word rears its head and gains momentum. By morning, fresh on the heels of NBA owner Donald Sterling's stunningly racist tirade, the Subban story blows up this way. It's reported that 17,000 racist tweets were posted by Boston fans against Subban. While PK Subban didn't speak to the media today, his coach Michel Therrien did.
PK's got our support, and I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm shocked to hear those type of comments. I'm shocked.
The Boston Bruins also react to the tweets.
It's just poor judgment, poor taste. People who think that way are not what we call our fans.
It's just unfortunate that, you know, that stuff like that is still happening, and like I said, I just don't get why anyone would do that.
The Bruins put out a press release condemning the racist tweets, but here's the thing. If you go looking for them, scroll through the N-word hashtag, what you mostly find are messages against racism.
Oh.
Most of these 17,000 tweets are about people who are denouncing these remarks.
Eve Couture, a social media analyst in Montreal, explains.
People probably misunderstood or thought that it would be 17,000 bad messages, but there were not 17,000 bad messages. There was lots of other hashtags after defending PK Subban. So you have to see it, you have to read it, you have to go on Twitter and do your job, right?
Media.
and see if it's
do
real.
your job.
George Larocque played for more than 10 years.
In social media, people hide behind computers, they say whatever they want. And I think that every time we talk about something like this, those guys that are doing this, that started this trend, they're happy. They're sitting in their couch
at home,
they're
laughing.
And they look at what they've caused, and that's what they wanted. People that are racist, that's what they want. They want recognition, even though they're hiding behind the
legitimacy.
PK shot, he scores! It's good news that most of the tweets weren't against Subban. But of course, even one racist is too many. Nick Purdon, CBC News, Toronto.
That changes things. Here's what I find interesting. Shortly after the well, I would say it was about a week after the PK Subban tweets. What's his name? Harrison Mooney, our pal, our best buddy, wrote an article entitled "PK Subban and Hockey's Problematic Relationship with Players of Color." Now, that's a pretty strong title. I engaged Mooney earlier in the week. You can check my Twitter, Tommy C at SFTP. Mooney came back and said that was not the case, that they've maintained all along this was a minority of tweets. And I was basing that on Greg Wyshynski's article, PK Subban's Tweets Revisited. PK Subban's Tweets Revisited is an article that sort of backs off and sort of repeats what you just heard in that last piece from the BBC, by the way. By the way, this was not some far-right wacko group. This is the BBC, the CBC, Canadian broadcasting government, whatever the hell they do, socialized crap, whatever. That was it. So I saw the revisiting article as them sort of backtracking without having to backtrack. And Mooney said to me that they maintained that all along. If that was the case, Harrison Mooney, why did you write an article entitled PK Subban and Hockey's Problematic Problematic Relationship with Players of Colors? It was obviously inspired by the Subban tweets, which turned out to be a handful of assholes. So Mooney told me that I am way off base on this one. Now, I like Harrison, and this may be a disagreement. And in fairness to Harrison, his article goes on to kind of touch on a lot of issues of color and stuff like that. Not of all of which are out of line. And I do think to some extent black players kind of get that there is somewhat of a double standard. But this is not a problem with hockey. We're talking about a few racists, a few people that misspeak. This is not open racism. And that is how Puck Daddy and a lot of other media outlets are portraying this. Now, Greg Wyshynski writes in revisiting the tweets, they are backing off. It was a minority of tweets. It did not represent hockey. It did not represent Boston fans. And they pounced Mooney pounced, and it turns out this is just a bunch of BS. That most North Americans, and probably all people all over the world, in the majority, are outraged by that kind of stuff. And what you are doing, Harrison Mooney, Ryan Lampert, and Puck Daddy, you are actually fanning the flames of racism. I don't know if you're actually doing it intentionally. I wouldn't go that far, but this is the thing. Don Cherry, George Laraque, they're both saying the same damn thing. They're both saying this is the thing. You leave this alone. It's just like shining the light or putting the camera on the guy that jumps on the ice. Every time they pull away. Every time they pull away. That's what you're doing. You're creating a lie. You're making a racial incident that is not even there. And it's unfair.
You're doing it's like poking at a cut, you know?
That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
This incident is not really down. Now, are there racists? Does this underscore racism? That doesn't mean we should just ignore racism altogether. No. But what it does mean is we have to ignore the Xbox assholes, some anonymous jerk off on Twitter. If you expose them and say that hockey is the problem, you are making a bad situation worse, and because it's not as bad a situation as the media, Puck Daddy, Greg Wyshynski, Harrison Mooney are making it out to be. I saw Ryan Lampert. He referred to some anonymous. I don't know if he's anonymous or not. I didn't know the hell he was. Some anonymous guy. He called PK Subban a megalomaniac for asking people to vote for him on Twitter on the
every
NHL 15
single
cover.
person last year asked somebody to vote for them on.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what? He was out of line. He's not a megalomaniac for asking people to vote for him. I mean, it's a big honor to be on that video game. It's a huge honor to be on that big video game. Now, and he writes something to the effect is like, "Yo, wow, look what you said. You, the individual, said this shows that there's a greater problem with racism inside of hockey." No. You ever think for a minute that he's just a biased Boston Bruins fan?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, I say stuff about Martin Brodeur that I don't mean as ball busting.
It doesn't mean you hate Canadians.
It doesn't mean you hate Canadians. Are you guys insane? Are you guys nuts? And you take the coward's way out by watching it. You guys should be on every friggin' hockey blogger should be calling you guys out. This is fanning the flames of racism. When it's actually this small. But by the time you're done, it's bigger than you can imagine. These guys are sitting, these racist jerk-offs are sitting home laughing at you.
It seems like in the past 20 years, the whole lot less racism's going around.
But I don't know if you can measure that, Jake.
But okay. But I'm just saying, the past 20 years. But now it just seems like any little thing that a person tweets, it's all of a sudden
it's reflective of everybody.
A social issue.
It's reflective of everybody. And here's what I think. I think they're doing this on purpose to make these self-righteous guys feel important.
I mean,
and
you
here's
and I
another
both acknowledge that the tweets they were wrong, and I would never ever tweet that. I would never ever say that.
It's obvious that friggin' 90% of the population would never tweet anything like that. It's obvious that
now 10%. It's you're gonna have somebody who's gonna try and push that envelope, which I have no problem with pushing the envelope, but just saying those things is just.
Let me backtrack a little bit. Look. I'm not gonna Jake. I'm not gonna go into this. I'm not gonna sit there and say and act like we're not racist because we would never do that. That's sure, no kidding. But that's what they want to do. This is not a big a problem in hockey as they would like you to believe. And this article, PK Subban, Racist Tweets Revisited, they're backing off. And that's wrong, Harrison. You wouldn't have wrote that article if you thought it was just a minority of Xbox users. Every time somebody says the N-word on Xbox, that does not mean we have a major social problem. First of all, in the United States, hate speech is legal. It is 100% protected by the Constitution. I know it's not that way in Canada because you have pseudo courts that prosecute everybody that don't think the right way. But in the United States, you can do it. So with that freedom that we have right now also comes with the wackos, the kooks, the haters. And we accept that because if we start deciding what's hate speech and what is not hate speech, then it can be used as a political weapon onto whatever party or ideology happens to be in power to their dissenters.
Yep.
So that is why we don't do that thing. Hockey doesn't have a problem with racism. More and more and more.
Everything on Xbox, a lot of people short slept with my mom.
I mean, yeah, seriously, get over it. You guys are helping. Harrison, I respect you. I think you're intellectually honest. I don't respect Wyshynski and Lampard. I think they're jerk-offs. But if you want to come on, we'll do In the Crease and Time. You want to defend yourself. And I do realize there is more to your article than what I said. But you wouldn't have wrote it if you didn't think it was just a handful of jerk-offs. So you're going to have to explain that.
No, and you know what? I'm telling you, it's still a thing. Mm-hmm. Racism. It's still out there.
No one's denying that. No one's denying that. But you know, the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan doesn't have a big. They're just a bunch of rednecks. Nobody listens to them anymore.
Yeah.
This is a great way to get them back in power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not going to do it, and I really think it has more to do with the people reporting it, trying to make themselves seem important rather than actually doing something important. And the important thing to do, because it's at this level. Now, if it does rise above that level, you got to start doing reports on it. Absolutely. But at the level that it's at, handful of tweeters, Xbox users, jerk-offs that comment on Yahoo, that is not indicative of a major race problem. Now, are there issues? Should people be corrected when there's a little bit of a double standard, the way you refer to PK Subban one way and maybe a Sidney Crosby another? Yes, and I'm not saying it shouldn't always be pointed out, but if you're gonna Xbox, Twitter, give me a break. Get over yourselves. You're being dishonest. Harrison, let me tell you something. Harrison, listen to me. You owe me an interview, and I understand you're busy right now. But this summer, I want to hash this out, like me and Lampard hashed it out last year. I want an interview. I understand you can't do it now because you're too hot. You're getting too cold. Shit, you're on Fox Sports right now. But I want another one. You said you'd do it, and I want you to explain yourself. Maybe you will bring me to the other way of thinking. But right now, I think this is crap. I think what your site's doing, and it's not just my typical I don't like what you say or I don't like how you look at hockey. I think this is crap.